What's up, everybody? Welcome back to From the Crypt. I'm Derek, and today I'm a little bit behind because I spent last weekend in Las Vegas with my wife, but a couple days ago I was finally able to check out Alien Romulus, directed by Fede Alvarez, and it is in theaters right now as we speak. It is literally 1 week old. I'm going to get my bias out of the way very quickly. Aliens is in my top 5 favorite movies of all time. So, when it comes to the Alien films, I tend to be more critical of them because, honestly, I love aliens that much. In a previous video, Jacob and I did discuss all of the other Alien films. So, check that out to get our thoughts on everything, and then you could just lump this one in there with that, basically. Before I get started, as I already said, this movie is 1 week old. It is still in theaters. I'm talking spoilers, as I don't have any self-control. So, this is your warning. Give it some time. Give it some time. Okay, so let's get into our super quick plot synopsis. A group of young people raid an abandoned space station for supplies, only to find out why it was abandoned. Who's in Alien Romulus? We have Kaylee Spaney as Rain, David Johnson as Andy, Archie Renault as Tyler, Isabella Merced as Kay, Spike Fearn as Bjorn, and Eileen Wu as Navarro. What's good about Alien Romulus? Spoiler, a lot. Kaylee Spaney is great in this, and the final girl in each movie of the Alien franchise has to give off the Ripley vibes, because, I mean, Sigourney Weaver did it 4 times. So you can't replicate that, but you have to have similar vibes. Thankfully, she does, unlike the one from the last one. But that's neither here nor there. I like what they did with Andy. He was a damaged / reprogrammed kind of mining android for Weyland-Yutani, which I already screwed up. Artificial person, sorry. So seeing him malfunction, like at the beginning where she has to put the thing in his neck and like shut him off, reboot him and all that, it kind of gives him humanity. And as many of you know, Ash, Bishop, Call, David, Walter, none of them. Just, yeah, we're robots. So that was kind of a good change of pace. But also what ties into that too, and makes his humanity, I guess, a major part of the film, is when they put that module in his neck so that they can open the door and get out of the room that's like knee-deep water with the face huggers in it, he starts turning into basically one of the old Weyland droids. So he kind of loses that humanity, but then she has to take it out and reset him and stuff. Then boom, he has come full circle. So I really like that they did that with him. It made you feel for the android, or artificial person, I keep slipping. The rest of the crew in the film, I felt did okay. None of them really stood out to me, and it just seemed like they were there to fill a specific role. Pregnant chick, leader, asshole, and pilot. Oh, and speaking of the asshole, I love how he died, because I literally looked over to my buddy that I went and saw the movie with, and I said, God, this guy has just been a fucking dick to Andy this entire time. I want him to die slow. I figured it wouldn't happen because it's an alien movie. I figured he'd get grabbed up, then right in the head, done. No, he died slow. He died very slow. The acid blood dripping on him, and then when he's like holding up his hand and you could just see the skin eating away and then the bone. So good and so rewarding. I loved it. And I was surprised because, like I said, I didn't think I was going to get that. I got it. So I was very happy with that. Another great thing about this movie is the set design. It's very close to the original, which, considering the fact it's 20 years after Alien, perfect. It's in line with it. One thing I'm going to address, I've actually seen some people complaining about it. And yeah, that makes no goddamn sense to me whatsoever. Because I hate it in a movie where it's like, they'll be set a few years apart, but then the technology just jumps. Like, it'll be like 1970s versus today's technology. And then, especially if if it's sandwiched in between two movies, you've got this jump, and then it goes back to like the natural progression of the timeline of that franchise. So having the technology and everything updated literally made no sense to me. And I don't know why people were complaining about that, but you could give somebody $1 million and they would still find something to freaking complain about it. Next up, the xenomorph vagina cocoon. I thought that was very interesting. Now, I may have missed something along the way, but I always thought that they just molted until they got to full size, not actually being in a cocoon. So I was like, oh, okay, that looks like I looked over at my buddy. I was like, that looks like a vagina. Like, let's just call it what it is. And it was a squirter too. Moving on. Some of the action, suspense / horror sequences of the movie were fantastic. Like when they're getting the coolant and then the face huggers start waking up and then they're just dropping into the water, which I don't understand how nobody hears that, but whatever. So dealing with the face huggers swimming around, it was tense. It was horrifying, especially considering we all know what the face huggers do. So that was a great sequence in the movie. Raising the room temperature to sneak past them so that way they couldn't sense them, that was suspenseful as hell. And it was intense as fuck. Also, another great sequence. The last one I will mention is the 0G sequence where rain literally makes it rain the pain on the xenomorphs. So, because they're on the bottom floor of the Romulus, if she shoots an alien, it's going to bleed. And then it's going to just eat the floor away. And then, boom, everything gets sucked out into space. So, they disable the gravity. Xenomorphs start floating through the air. Taking them out. And then, sure enough, the acid doesn't drop right away. I love that Prometheus was referenced. Had an audio cue and everything. I love Prometheus. And I don't really understand why a lot of people don't. I saw the movie twice in theaters. It was easily one of the best 3D films I have seen. But to hear that the black goo was named Prometheus Fire, I loved it. I don't know if that had been a thing previously. From my recollection, that was the first time I have heard it called that, and which I thought was awesome. I'm going to go ahead and say it. The Offspring, the human engineer alien hybrid, was awesome. They did it right this time around in the surprise fourth act. God only knows the last time that they did this or attempted it, it was a complete fucking mess. So it was terrifying. It was freaking huge. Like, just absolutely knocked it out of the park. Especially considering, like I said, the bar was set pretty low the first time around that this was done. So if they would have failed, it would have been something bad. But thankfully, like I said, they nailed it. What's bad about Alien Romulus? Because there is some stuff too. Now, please excuse me. I have a long note written down that I want to read word for word because I don't want to boof this. I saw a meme in a group on Facebook that compared Alien Romulus to Star Wars: The Force Awakens. And to a certain extent, it was correct. There are so many new and creative aspects of the film, like the 3 sequences that I referenced previously. But it does start to feel like an Alien greatest hits during certain points of the film. So much so, a few of them I was just sitting in the theater like, come on, what are you doing? You've clearly got creativity on your side. You've exploited it a few times. Don't go back and do the stuff that we have already seen. Give me something new. Some of the things that the movie did that was like in the greatest hits compilation, I will say, it did do it better. The Offspring, for instance. But it doesn't matter how good it is or how bad some of them are, because there are some bad ones too. It all gets lumped together into just one category that's like, it's already done that before. It's already done that before. And it does end up hurting the film a little bit. The "get away from her, you bitch" line redo in this movie should not have been in this movie. I think it was only thrown in there for laughs. And the original from Aliens, which I hold in very high regard, is a classic just line and scene combination, and it should not have been redone. Is it just me, or did the gestation time seem way faster than previous movies? That's another complaint that I have just with the franchise as a whole, because it's never been like, oh, it takes like 2 hours, or oh, it takes a couple days. Because we've seen it. Kane from Alien. Few hours. Actually, probably more than that, because he was sleeping for a good bit of it and then was awake for a little bit and eating, and then it busted out. Ripley carried one in her for days. And people say, well, that's a queen. Yeah, no, you're not wrong by any means, but I would not think a queen would take that much longer to gestate than a regular drone. Alien Resurrection. That guy, that weird guy with the glasses, the prisoner or whatever that's trying to break out. Yeah. Not try to break out, but just trying to get off the space station with the crew. He had one in him for a few hours. Captain Religious Nutbag in Alien Covenant. Now with him, I will say they did very good, because we don't know how much time passed in that movie. So he could have been laying there a few hours, could have been laying there 15 minutes. We do not know. But in this one, considering one group of people is off on the ship doing this, one's still stuck in the space station, and the way time is moving, it just does, like, I don't know, it seemed like it took 20 minutes this time around. So that is one minor complaint that I have. What's another thing that I got? Stupid decisions. And I'm talking about Bjorn here, who died very slowly. Rightfully so. You know your lady's infected. I get it. It sucks. And some people would probably look at me and say, well, if your wife was infected, would you just leave her there? Yeah. Sorry I'm that rational of a person, but even if I'm infected, no, I'm not risking it. Stay away from me. I'm not going to put the group in danger over me being infected or my loved one being infected. If anything, I'd stay behind and probably get killed by him. Like, that's just all there is to it. I wish they would have took a little more time and worked that out better. But yeah, they're young. They don't know. But still, it's just not like a massive negative like what I'm going to get into here in a second. But I was still just like, God, this guy is a stupid douchebag. Hope he dies slow. One question that I do have. How did the little baby Xeno make the big vagina cocoon? Because like I said, not much time went by. Not that much time at all. Maybe 30 minutes tops. That thing is freaking huge. I could fit inside of it. And this thing is this big. How? Once again, another question. I've been saving this one. Rook. Oh, God. That's the only time during this I'm going to call him that, because it's Ash. This was the dumbest fucking thing they could have possibly put in this movie. We did not need Ian Holmes' resemblance used. I'm glad that they went through the right channels and did it very respectfully. Like, 100% props to him for that. A bad idea is a bad idea, no matter how you slice it. I don't know if this next statement I'm going to make is true, but somebody told me that Ridley Scott suggested that. Ridley Scott gave us Alien and Prometheus. He also gave us Alien Covenant. Don't take his advice. And I may sound like a dick saying that, but I'm sorry. Alien Covenant was trash. Nobody will convince me otherwise. Considering the fact it had to be a lot of CG, it looked fucking awful. And when I go to a movie theater, if it's a big budget movie, $80 million budget for this one, I expect good CG, good set design, good everything. Yeah, no, didn't get the good CG on that. It literally just kept pulling me out of my viewing experience and quite frankly just pissed me off. It was unnecessary and did not need to fucking happen. They could have had Fassbender in there, or just literally random Joe Schmo and it would have been better, and we wouldn't be sitting here with me bitching about it right now. That was easily the worst part of this movie. And yeah, it definitely tanked the movie a good bit, because when you're pulled out of your viewing experience, you're like, why the fuck am I even here? The one instance I will use of where bad CG has pulled me out that bad and that hard, Justice League. Superman's magical mustache. Because yeah, it is that bad. Moving on. Would I watch this again? Yes, I do, despite my negative comments. I want to watch it again because there's a lot of Easter eggs that Fede put in it. Because he is a fan of the franchise. Played Alien Isolation all throughout making Don't Breathe. And wanted to make an Alien movie. So he just jammed in what he could. Would I buy this movie? Yes. It is a good movie. Just has one really dumb, bad fucking thing in it. But also mainly because I gotta keep my collection complete. And I already own Alien Covenant, so if I was going to break the chain, it would have been broken with that. What score would I give it? I'm going to go with a 7.5. The things that I liked in this movie, I loved. Because it was awesome, new, and creative. The things that I hated in this movie, I fucking hated. Ash. I will say it's definitely better than some of the films in the franchise. And if I were to put this in any kind of ranking, which I don't have any concrete thing done, its peak is number 3, because it did not reach the levels of Alien or Aliens. It's better than Covenant and better than Resurrection, which in my book is not saying a whole hell of a lot. So 7.5 I felt was fair, especially considering it was a first time watch. If my review changes drastically, by all means, I will definitely go back and touch on this again, because I love the Alien franchise, and like I said, things I loved in this movie, I was like, yes! And that's what makes me want to come back to it. Alright guys, that'll do it for Alien Romulus. If you liked the video, please drop a like on it, and consider subscribing to the channel. Also, I want to know what you guys thought about the movie. Did I miss something? Am I overreacting? I really don't think I am, but if somebody can logically explain to me how I'm wrong, believe me, I am always ears to listen. Let's have that talk down below. Until next time, guys, have a good one.